Greetings to Abba viewers. In this Abba TV channel, we have been giving some classes on English, how to communicate in English. So we have been dealing grammatical portions actually. So far we have been dealing extensively how to change an active voice in passive voice. In the last video, interrogative sentences, how to change an active voice into passive voice, that also WH questions we have dealt it. Now when you talk about these WH questions, there is another realm, another phase for these WH questions. We are going to deal that now. So as I said, now let us be reminded of the what are the WH forms now. So let us write them once again now. Which, what, when, where, why, who, how many, and how much. Now my dear students, pay attention. So these are the WH question forms: which, what, when, where, why, who, how many, how much. Now what is the subject I am going to deal, you will better understand if I start with an example. Now let us say in the previous videos, what song did he sing? So now this is a WH question, and we have learned it how to change a WH question from active voice to passive voice. Now let us write this answer. What song was sung by him? This is a passive voice. Now my dear students, the information I am going to provide now is something quite interesting. In WH questions, sometimes what happens, the WH question itself will be the object. So usually here, what song, actually here the object is song, but in certain sentences this WH question itself will become the object. So when that becomes, that should be considered as an object, and that should be changed into passive voice. That is quite interesting here. We will learn it with an example now. Before giving that example, among all these WH question forms, what are the forms can be written as a subject or as an object actually in a question? Now let us say what, this can become as object, and which also can become. When we cannot write, who will become, and how much and how many, these things can be written in as an object itself. Now why I am giving an example now, you see. Which did you choose? Now look at the sentence, my dear students. Which did you choose? Now we know you use subject, this is be form verb, and this is main verb. Now that WH question is the object, please understand. Now this is being a WH question, but sometimes this itself will be considered, treated as an object. Now actually in this question this is object. Now instead of that, we should not create an object there. Don't misunderstand that, don't confuse that with the object creation. Here that which itself is the object. Now how this has to be changed into passive voice? Usually what happens in statement sentences, the object will be brought first as a subject, then the subject will go as an object. But here this type of WH questions, it is coming as it is. We don't change the places of them, but we apply the formula alone. Now how this can be changed into passive voice? Because this is being object, it will be the same, which. Now we have to apply the passive voice formula. Now which is third person singular it, because it is a question, and also which refers to just like animals or some animate objects or some other things. So which refers to third person singular it, and this is being simple past tense, was or where will come, and among them this is being third person singular subject, we are going to write to was. Now the main verb is choose, the V3 for choose is chosen. Now this which WH question itself is becoming the object. Now let us say which did he choose? He chose something actually. That something is actually supposed to be the object, but we are questioning that something. That is what actually questioned here. So now that something is questioned by which, so that which is becoming the object. So therefore we consider that one as object and we are changing that into passive voice. So understand my dear friends, sometimes WH question itself will be considered as a object. So therefore we will have to treat it as an object and we will have to change into passive voice. So as I have ticked here, these are the question forms actually. WH question forms can be considered as an object. Now we have seen example for which, we will see for the example for what. Now let us say, consider this sentence. What did you buy? Now again let us split this one. This is an WH question, interrogative. This is B form verb, this is subject, this is main verb. Now the object is what. Now actually this question can be asked in a little elaborately. What did you buy in the market? Actually why I am writing this letter, because you should not confuse this market as an object, that is why. So that is why I am writing it later. So now this is the actual sentence. What did you buy in the market? Now this what is actually is the object. As I said, you don't have to change the places actually. Back and front and back. No, we don't have to change. We can treat it as it is actually. Now this is being simple past tense. Now what did is actually a simple past tense. Now was or where we'll have to write. Now listen again. This what is actually bit ambiguous. It could be singular as well as plural. Now which means in the market what a man can buy? Only vegetables, not clothes. So no, that also again vegetables in the sense not one or only one vegetable. No, we don't buy only one. So we'll have to buy various vegetables. So which vegetables? For instance, actually one vegetable he could buy, otherwise he could have bought actually so many vegetables. So this what can be written in both ways also. He can write was also, or he can write where also. Please understand the sense. Here this what is the object, which means that refers to vegetables. So vegetable could be one singular as well, it can be plural also. So what was bought in the market by you. This is a passive voice. We have used singular subject to be form verb. Here again we can write it in another way. What were bought in the market by you, which means we refer to plural subjects, vegetables in a plural sense. When we use was, we use it in a singular sense, maybe only one vegetable, maybe tomato or onion, anything for that matter. So now this what is actually is considered as an object in the sentence. Now that is the beauty of the sentence. Now we will see other sentences also. Now look at the actual list here. We have dealt which and we have dealt what, and what is the next one is who. Who did they elect as president? Now again, if we split this one, did is be form verb, they is subject, this is main verb, and that is not object. Who is the object? Now how to change this one? Again this is simple past tense. Here who, was or where, actually president can be only one person. So we simply understand this should be singular. So who was elected as president? So age and omission, by them you don't have to write. So understand which is becoming object, what is becoming object, and here again who is also becoming object in a sentence, it can become, and we have written the example. Now again this who will be considered in some other senses also. We are going to see this WH question form who in some other sense also. I am going to give you a typical example now. Please pay attention. Now my dear students, consider this sentence. Who broke the chair? Now if you split this one, this is a verb, the chair is a subject, and this is object. Now there is no be form verb, actually we will have to suppose to write did plus break, we will have to write, but we have written straight away V2, then it becomes verb. Now this is simple past tense, the be form verb is did, we know, as we have learned the formulas already. Now how this can be changed into passive voice? Now the subject has to come now, chair. This is simple past tense, chair is third person singular, so was, and broke is V2, and what is a V3 for broke is broken, and this who becomes object with little difference by whom. So please understand. So I am giving what are all the possibilities, what are all nuances in WH questions, how WH questions can be written, how can they be understood, how they become object in a sentence, and how they will remain as a WH question itself. So there are so many nuances in it. If you only understand each of them, you will be able to communicate effectively. So please understand this one. Now you see, look at this sentence, who broke the chair. This is simple past tense, but this who is the object, because somebody has broken the chair. Somebody broke the chair. That somebody is questioned by who, and that becomes object. Now the chair was broken by whom. This is passive voice. So we are going to deal the next one, how or how many or how much. Let us take one of them. Now let us take this one, how much. How much are they collecting as donation? And people who have passed out this 12th standard now aspiring to join colleges, they know the problem of donation. It's good for you now. Now consider this sentence, how much are they collecting as donation? Now this how much is actually WH question form, but this is object here. Or is be form verb, they is a subject, collecting is actually verb. Now how much are they collecting as donation? This can be changed into passive voice. This is considered as object. We don't actually misplace them or change their places. We write as it is, how much. Now how much, when you say how much is actually it is in a sense it is plural, but we are talking about money. Money doesn't have any plural sense, it is always singular. So how much, this is in present continuous tense. So how much is a singular, instead of or we are writing is how much. This is being continuous tense, we will have to write being. How much is being. Collecting is V4 and V3 for collecting is collected. How much is being collected as a donation? By the agent omission, we have learned it so much, so we will just skip that. Maybe that refers to the management that runs the institution. So now my dear students, understand this how much is the object in the sentence, and it is treated as an object and it is changed into passive voice. So in this video we have seen WH question will stand as a WH question alone in certain sentences, but in certain sentences the WH question will be treated as an object. So that becomes an object, and therefore it is changed as a subject actually in the passive voice, and for that we have seen certain examples. And among all these WH question forms, not every WH question form can take that place of object, only few, that also we have ticked here, maybe which, what, and who, how many, how much. So these WBC questions will become an object in a sentence, in an interrogative sentence. So they can be changed into passive voice. This is a very typical thing actually I am trying to give in this active voice and passive voice. So pay attention closely. So thanks for watching Hi Abba TV. Continue to watch. Good luck to you.